All right, hey everyone, my name is Kevin Lagore. I'm the director of Focus Astronomy. Some of you know me through Skywatcher. I'm the product specialist for Skywatcher here in North America. What you're seeing right now is the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. This is a fairly rare event. This one in particular, though, is quite rare. So basically what's occurring here is something that happens all the time in the solar system. And that's basically the planets are moving through their orbit. And for this evening, what we're basically seeing is from our position here on Earth, Jupiter and Saturn look like they're almost in alignment. And it just kind of works out and from our positioning. Now, the last time that these planets were this close was about 400 years ago, and that was July 16th, 1623. This evening, they're about 6 arc seconds apart. Now, there are 60 arc seconds in a degree in the nighttime sky, and so 5 or 6. These are a tenth of a degree, roughly, apart from one another. So the last time this occurred in 1623, July 16th, 1623, they were 5 degrees apart. They were even closer. Now, the thing about this one, though, is a lot of times these conjunctions actually take place in the daytime, so we don't really get to see it. But at this point, the last time this really occurred like this was over 800 years ago, which was March 4th, 1226, where they were 3 arc minutes apart from each other, crazy close, and it was visible in the evening. So that's why this one's so rare. Is it's easy to see because it's far away from the sun, and at least visually here on Earth, it's far away from the sun, and they are so close to one another. Now, if you go outside right now and you look roughly where the sun has set, the sun roughly sets in the west, and if you go look out towards the west, kind of roughly where the sun set, you'll see a bright star. Some of you may be able to see 2. Those are basically the planets that we're seeing. The brighter one is Jupiter, and the dimmer one is Saturn. Now, if you have decent eyesight, you can actually still split them into 2. Right now, I can look out, I can see both of them together, so they never are going to conjoin to look like one. But depending on your eyesight, you might not be able to split the 2 of them, but they are relatively close to one another, visually speaking. Now, in reality, right now, Jupiter is 548,439,000 miles away from that. So, or from us at the moment. Now, Saturn is 1,058,400,000 miles from us. So right now, the 2, while they do look close to each other, they're roughly 510 million miles behind. So Saturn is 510 million miles behind Jupiter at this point. So that's what we're doing right now, is basically what we are seeing. So this is the conjunction. We've got Jupiter and Saturn. If you step outside right now, you want to look towards the west. If you're not familiar with that, west is where the sun sets. And generally, these do set roughly by about 7 o'clock local time. So you want to keep up with that. Your location, it might have already set by now. If you're still in the west coast, then you've got plenty of time to get out and look at it. So you want to go outside, look towards the west. That's the direction the sun sets. If you need to, look at the moon. The moon is in the southwest, high in the sky. That is about 90 degrees up at the moment. If you go to the right of the moon and down, you'll see another bright star out in the west. That is the planets we're looking at right now. So this is the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. very this event actually the conjunction, and a conjunction is where two celestial objects kind of come together closely. Happens all the time. Various objects have conjunctions. The moon will have conjunctions with planets, stars, so on and so forth, and etc. But what's happening tonight is the conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn, and this happens every 20 years. So the conjunction of the two planets isn't necessarily rare. What is actually rare about this is the fact of how close they actually are. And tonight we're at 6 arc seconds or arc minutes from the planets from being apart. So they are very, very close to one another at this point. So this is the closest they've actually been since March 4th. July 16th, 1623. They were a little bit closer to each other, and then when they were really close, it was back in March 4th, 1226, and that was when they were visible during the day too. So something cool, something to see. Definitely fun to check out. So if it's still dark where you're at, if the sun's just set, go out and take a look out there. Like I said, this is in the west, so go outside, look to the west just after sun has set. So go out and check it out right now. For those of you who are joining us, I see there's 785 of you, so thank you very much for joining Focus this evening. For those who don't know, Focus Astronomy is a public outreach program based here in Arizona. We see about 30,000 people a year in the Arizona state region. Most of our programs are free. They're all for educational purposes, like what we're doing tonight. Now, unfortunately, we would rather be showing people in person, but that's just how this year has been. So we're doing a live stream from our headquarters in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. The weather here is clear. We're about 70 degrees right now, perfectly clear skies, which is perfect. So we can share it with, all 800 of you. So thank you for joining us. If you like what you see here, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because we actually do virtual star parties like this at other times. What that means is we actually take you on a tour around the night sky and what's up in the night sky other than the planets. So this is just a special event. So if you like what you see and you want to join us, go ahead and take a look at our channel. You can see some of our previous webcasts, our star streams as we call them, and we take you around the night sky showing you what's up. So also big shout out to Skywatcher. They were helpful for promoting this evening. So you can also go check those out as well. So right now we're running on a Skywatcher Esprit 150. This is a 6-inch refractor, so about 150 millimeters in diameter. It's not a big telescope. You don't need a big telescope to see the planets. And then we're running a very basic camera from a company called ZWO. It's an ASI 462 color camera is the name of the model. And that's what we're using to stream right now. And this is a live stream. We are actually coming from Arizona right now. This is fresh off the telescope and right to you guys. So this is the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. We have about another 30 to 45 minutes roughly left for this before it sits behind the building behind us, and then we'll lose the ability to see it. We do have some friends of ours who are also doing a live stream from California, so when this one ends, they should have a little bit more time if you want to jump over to them as well. That live stream is also going on. Let me see if I can find the name of them. It slipped my mind real quick, but there are multiple streams that are going up right now. So if once you're done here, you can always go over and check out other streams. The other stream is coming from a company called Skies Away, Skiesaway. Skies Away is doing a live stream from California. So once we're done here, if you want to jump over there and get some more time as it sets here in California, you can, or here in Arizona, you can always jump over to the other live streams from various locations as things continue. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing Jupiter on the right, the big bright blob, and Saturn on the left. Jupiter at this time is 548,439,000 miles away from us at the moment. And Saturn, even though it looks right next door, is actually 1,058,400,000 miles away from the Earth right now. That's a difference of 510 million miles. So Saturn is actually 510 million miles behind Jupiter at the moment. So what you're seeing here is the closest approach that you're going to get for the two planets. They're never actually going to align with each other here. So this is the closest they're going to get. So if you go outside right now, if you've got decent eyesight, you can still split the two from each other. It doesn't look like one unified star, but depends on your eyesight. Jupiter will be the brightest and Saturn is the dimmest. So what you're looking at here is you have Jupiter on the right and Saturn on the left. Because Jupiter is so much brighter than Saturn, the camera's not able to expose for both evenly, but we can adjust the cameras just here real quick so we can kind of show you guys. I'm going to dim this down so you can start to see some detail on Jupiter there. And those are the cloud bands. And then you can see Saturn over here, which is you can actually see how much dimmer it is when the exposure is evened up. So Saturn is a fair amount dimmer than Jupiter. Now, the reason why everything looks really boily right now and not super sharp is because we actually are getting really low in the atmosphere. So when you're looking at this, the atmosphere is relatively thick as opposed to viewing straight up. That's called zenith. That's why when you want to do astrophotography or view something, you generally want to capture it when it's high in the sky, like where the moon is right now. That's a very high location in the sky. The air is the thinnest and the cleanest up there. So right now we're shooting through a lot of atmosphere because they are setting in the western sky. There's also a lot of heat coming off the ground, concrete, asphalt, house rooftops and such. All the heat gets absorbed during the day and then is released in the night. So what happens when you're doing low in the sky observations like what we're doing right now, the heat is dissipating from the ground and it's causing everything to boil and look unsteady. So let me just adjust this real quick. I'm going to overexpose it here. So what we're seeing right now are some of the moons of Jupiter, and then you can see Saturn's moon, Titan, right over here. This is the largest moon of Saturn, Titan. This is actually a star right here that you can just ignore that. And then you have 3 of the 4 Galilean moons currently visible on Jupiter. There actually is a 4th, but it's in front of the planet at the moment, so we're not able to catch the 4th one right at this time. So starting from the top, the moon by itself, up here with Jupiter, this guy right here, that is Europa. The one just below Jupiter right here, this is Io, and then the one down here, this is Callisto, and then Ganymede is actually in front of Jupiter right now, so we're not able to see that at the moment. The only moon for Saturn we have right now is the bright moon Titan right here. Saturn does have a bunch of other moons. We just can't see it at the moment. The reason why Saturn looks like an oval, of course, is because of its rings. Now, This is Saturn right here. If you had a bathtub big enough, Saturn is actually lighter than water, so if you actually were able to put it in a bathtub, Saturn would float. And then just to give you a size, Saturn's ring tip to ring tip, is 240,000 miles in diameter, so Saturn would sit right in between the moon and the Earth. So 240,000 miles ring tip to ring tip for Saturn. The moon Titan is just, let me overexpose this real quick. Get the camera going. Right here, this is the bright moon Titan around Saturn right there. There are stars in the region that we're shooting right now as well, so if we tell the camera to overexpose, and that's generally what we do when we take pictures of the nighttime sky, we're generally taking long exposures of those really faint objects. So as you expose more, there are stars in the background that the camera will start to pick up. So the two planets are never going to become one star, especially in the telescope. The telescope has a much larger resolution or resolving power than the human eye does. So the human eye at best is only 7 millimeters in diameter, so we're only able to resolve a very small amount of the nighttime sky, so thus the use of telescopes. Telescopes they're basically a larger eye. They collect more light, so we're able to see fainter objects, and they have a larger physical diameter. So the telescope we're using right now is 150 millimeter in diameter, so it has a much larger resolving power, so we're able to actually resolve finer details than the human eye can. So thus the reason why we can see the two planets separated. Now the advantage of this is we're able to see more detail, but in this case the planets are never actually going to align on top of one another, as amazing as that would be. It will occur way in the future, unfortunately long past any current living person will ever be able to see, but in the future that will occur. I see a lot of people in the chat that are referring to things like astronomy, and things in astronomy are scary. A large part of any kind of fear is going to come from the unknown. So this is why we study the nighttime sky. This is why we study things in science, because we find out the more you understand something, the easier it is to accept what things are. And at that point, we can have a better understanding of everything and not be so scared about things. So we study the nighttime sky to find where we fit in the grand scheme of things. That's kind of the goal of astronomy, is to better understand our place in the universe. And what we're seeing right now is just an alignment, and from our position here on Earth, of two planets. This happens all the time relative to the position. So it could be aligned somewhere else. But really there's, you could call it symbolism or whatever, but we're just looking at an alignment, and it's just a cool thing to see and go out and share with. It's kind of the final astronomical event of 2020. Now, 2020, as crazy of a year as it's been, has been amazing for astronomy because we had a really good look at Mars this fall, and Mars is actually still visible if you're outside right now. If you look straight up, not far from the moon, you'll see a red star. That is the planet Mars. It's moving away from us at the moment. But we had a really good close encounter with Mars this past fall. We had Comet Neowise come by, which is the most photographed comet we've ever seen. And of course, to round out 2020's collection of celestial events, we have the conjunction. So, very cool thing to see, kind of special. It is special to be here with all of you tonight, 974 of you. So thank you very much for being a part of this from all over the world. That is really kind of the cool thing about astronomy is you can take a bunch of people and you can go out and you can look up at the nighttime sky, and so many people become connected because this is something that's been ingrained in us for centuries. The human species has always been interested in the nighttime sky. This is why we have constellations and so many things in the nighttime sky that we told stories. So long before we had technology and books and video games and such, we always looked up at the nighttime sky. Different cultures made pictures out of stars in the nighttime sky. Those are constellations. And that's really kind of ingrained our history into the nighttime sky. So that's pretty cool. So when you're out viewing the nighttime sky, whether with a telescope and a really fancy camera, or just your eyes, or maybe some binoculars, or maybe you're just laying out under the nighttime sky looking at stuff, that's a really cool time to just feel where you fit into the grand scheme of things. So astronomy is really kind of cool way to be connected with everything. The telescope we're using right now is a 150 millimeter 6-inch telescope. It's a Skywatcher Esprit 150 triplet apochromatic refractor. It's kind of one of our best telescopes in the Focus Astronomy collection. It's used for all kinds of things. A lot of our virtual star parties are streamed through this telescope. Nice thing about these kinds of telescopes is they're very flexible. They can be used for all different applications, from visual to safe observation of the sun with the correct filters, and as well as planets. So pretty kind of neat stuff. So. All right, sorry, I had to step away, had to show the family the rare event that's going on before the kids need to go to bed. So anyway, for those of you just joining us, my name is Kevin Lagore. I'm the director of Focus Astronomy. Focus is a outreach program based in Phoenix, Arizona. We see about 30,000 people a year with events all around the state of Arizona as well. We do stuff in California as well. Also, big thank you to Skywatcher. I'm the product specialist for Skywatcher, but they've also supported Focus and our outreach programs as well. So thank you very much to them for supporting the webcast tonight. So those of you who are joining us, this is the conjunction of Jupiter, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, and Saturn. Now, this is a fairly rare event, but let's actually dive into what makes this quote-unquote rare. Now, the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, that takes place every 20 years. So the planets coming together isn't necessarily anything strange. It's just part of it. But what's different about tonight, what makes it so rare, is how close the planets are together and the fact that they are really well visible at this point. So most of the time, conjunctions like this can take place during the day where we can't see them and we just know that something cool is happening and we can't see it. So the last time we were this close, the planets were this close, was July 16th, 1623, so about 400 years ago. They were 5 arc minutes apart. Tonight we're 6 arc minutes. If you're wondering what an arc minute is, if you break a degree, this is how we measure the nighttime sky. If you break the degree up, you have 60 arc minutes in a degree. So we're at 1/10 of an arc. We're at 1/10 of a degree this evening. Now, the last time they were this close or closer and in a good position for viewing was March 4th, 1226, where they were only 3 arc minutes apart. So the fact that we're in such a good position to see it kind of worked out. Now the telescope that we're using tonight is a Skywatcher Esprit 150. That's a 6-inch refracting telescope that uses a lens to focus light to a point. That of light, of course, is being focused on a camera. The camera right now is a ZWO ASI 462 color camera. That's what we're using tonight. If you have the chance to actually look through a telescope of pretty much any size, the view, I think, rivals what we're seeing on the camera. Now, right now, we are getting kind of towards the end of the stream here because I'm eventually going to lose the planets in the building behind us. So what you're seeing right now, the reason why the planets are looking kind of boily in the image is because we're getting heat off the ground and the buildings that are around us. So we are getting rather low in the nighttime sky right now, and that's why they're kind of looking real hazy and not super sharp. Now, generally when you want to do astronomy, when you want a nice sharp image, you want to be looking high up in the nighttime sky. The vertical of the nighttime sky, when you look straight up, this is known as zenith. And then there's an imaginary line that goes from zenith out to the south, due south, and this is called the meridian. Now, and then right now, if you were to go outside at the moment, we're based here in Phoenix, Arizona, when the sun or the moon is about 90 degrees up, as high as it gets, that is meridian. So everything rises in the east. Once it gets to the meridian, it starts setting, so it goes into the west. And the moon right now, if you're here on the west coast, is currently right about at meridian, and it's going to shift over. Now, the planets have already passed that position as well. Now, there's a lot of questions popping up that when are the planets actually going to align? They're not actually going to align. If you're looking at it naked eye, you might not be able to discern the two planets from one another visually. But in the telescope, and thus the reason we're using the telescope tonight, is it's able to split the two from one another and be able to see the two planets on their own. Now, what we're going to do right now, just so you guys can see, we're going to hit the camera real quick. We're going to bring the exposure up. And when we do that, we're going to bring out some of the moons of the planets. Now it's kind of hard to see right here. We have the brightest moon of Saturn is right here. That's Titan. And then you have 3 of the Galilean moons. You have Europa, Io, and Callisto out here. And then the 4th Galilean moon is in front of Jupiter right now. That would be Ganymede. Now, if you're looking for a telescope, the best place to buy telescopes is actually, at the moment, it's online. Now, there's a various number of different telescope stores that you can get equipment from. I always recommend, if you're looking for a telescope, get it from a dedicated telescope store. The hobby is actually relatively small, so if you can support a local shop or a nearby shop, that is the best way to go about it. So being here in Arizona, where Focus is based out of, our local shop is Star Arizona. You can always visit them at www.starizona.com, Starizona. That is the local shop for Arizona. Now, there are plenty of other major dealers out there. There's High Point Scientific. They're on the East Coast. You have Woodland Hills Camera. They're in the Los Angeles region of California. And then, of course, in Southern California, you have Oceanside Photo and Telescope, and a variety of other great dealers are available to get telescopes from. And, of course, there's some of the larger companies you can get stuff from. But if you're getting your first telescope, you're going to have questions. You're going to want to know where to get new accessories, new equipment. It's really good to actually speak with a team of people who work with this equipment, because you're going to have questions and want to get accessories. So if you work with an actual telescope shop like all the ones I just mentioned, they're going to have the team to be able to back you up as you advance in this hobby. Now, if you actually like what we're doing here at Focus Astronomy, if you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, we do virtual star parties like this as well. Basically what we do is we take you around the nighttime sky, we tell you about what's up in the nighttime sky, we show you galaxies, nebulas, constellations, star clusters, whatever neat thing is up. This is kind of a watered down version. This is just a live stream of a very special event, but we do a virtual event where we take you around the nighttime sky and show you all the cool things that are up there through the telescope. We have other episodes that we've done in the past on our YouTube channel, but if you really like what we're doing here, subscribe to the channel. It'll keep you up to date with what we're doing, and you can see all the other cool things that are going on as well. And if there's any other cool celestial events, we'll obviously try to do live streams of that. Now, we are in Arizona right now. That is where Focus is based. That's where the telescope currently is. Once this webcast is over, because we're about to lose it behind a building here shortly, you can go to our friends at Skies Away, SKIES AWAY. They're doing a live stream on Facebook as well. So if you want to check them out and you still want to continue with the stream, go over to Skies Away once we lose it here, and you can get a jump over there. My buddy Brian Cogdale will be able to help you out and take you further on as this live stream continues. I'm sure there are plenty of others around the world still watching it. Now, if you haven't been able to see it tonight is the closest conjunction of the two planets. This is as close as they're going to get. But tomorrow night, they're still going to be close. So if you're looking for a photo opportunity, or you're clouded out and you don't get a good view tonight through your telescope, hop on to hop out there tomorrow and check it out, because it'll still fit in the field of view of most telescopes tomorrow night as well. So you still have some time to get a really cool picture, or still show your friends and family at that point. Now, I see a lot of people who are asking where to look. Now, you need to go outside and look towards the west. If you don't know where the west is, you need to look outside and see where the sun sets. Now, after the sun sets, there's going to be, right above the western horizon, you're going to see a bright star. That is Jupiter. And right next to Jupiter is a dimmer star. That's actually the planet Saturn. So that's what you're looking at. You need to know where west is, roughly where the sun went down. If you have a smartphone, though, there are plenty of apps that you can get to check out and help what you're looking for. And one of the apps that I really like using on my iPhone is called Star Walk or Star Walk 2, where you can actually hold the phone up to the nighttime sky and it'll show you where it's at. So we have technology, you can go out and actually find where these things are really, really easily as well. So now, if you do go outside, it's going to probably look like one star depending on your eyesight. I'm able to split it into two, but it just kind of depends on the eyesight. It'll look like roughly one star. But if you use any kind of optic, telescope, binoculars, whatever, spotting scope, you'll be able to split the two like we're doing right now. And right now the camera is overexposing, so the planets look really bright, so that's when we can see the moon. But we're going to tune this down. See if we can see the rings a little bit more. There we go. You can see some of the rings of Saturn. Now, just to give you an idea, Saturn is huge, so is Jupiter. But Saturn, ring tip to ring tip, is 240,000 miles. That means we could put Saturn would fit right in between the moon and the Earth. So 240,000 miles, ring tip to ring tip. Now, if we had a bathtub big enough, Saturn would also float. So Saturn is lighter than water. Yeah, so if you're outside looking right now, the brighter one is Jupiter, the smaller one is Saturn. Now, they look like they're right next to each other, but they actually are nowhere near each other in reality. So currently Jupiter sits at a distance of 548,439,000 miles from Earth. Saturn is 1,058,400,000 miles away from Earth. So right now the two planets are 510 million miles away from the Earth. Or from them. If you're looking for Skies Away is doing their webcast on Facebook, so please go check them out. I will try to find a link real quick to put up in the chat here and see if we can get them linked up so you guys can check them out, because we're about to lose it. We're not too far away from it setting here. All right, so we're not far from losing the two from our location. We're based here in Phoenix, Arizona, as you probably heard. But I just posted a Facebook link in the chat there, so you can go over to our buddies Skies Away. They're in California right now. They are doing a live stream from their observatory in Central California, so they'll have a little bit more time. But we still got it here, but as you can see, it is getting low. And kind of the image isn't super sharp. That's because of the heat coming off the ground right there. So now, if you guys who are watching really like what we're doing here, go ahead and subscribe to the Focus Astronomy channel. We do virtual events like this all the time. Most of our events at the moment are actually virtual star parties where we take you kind of around the nighttime sky and show you what's up in the evening. Now, there's a good question in the chat. Why do stars blink? Stars blink because they're emitted light. Planets don't because they're reflected light. That's why stars blink. Now, if the stars are blinking heavily, that means the upper atmosphere is really chaotic at the moment, so it's not a good time to actually view. For some of you who want to join the Skies Away feed, I'll put that link up there again in the chat. We are losing the planets here. They're getting really low. I'm going to lose them behind a building behind us here shortly. After that, I might slew the telescope up to the moon just to show you guys the moon, because we've got so many people here right now and you guys are having fun. I might slew the telescope up there just to show you guys an up-close view of the moon, since we're already set up. Why not? If you want to know more about our program, Focus Astronomy, you can go to www.focusastro.org. You can learn about what we do, our events, our offerings. Normally, we do public programs where we're out in person showing you through the telescope. We see about 30,000 people a year. We have our own hands-on meteorite collection we bring to schools and public events. We have the live imaging that we're showing right here. We will have one of the largest mobile telescopes for viewing, hopefully finishing next year. Our 28-inch telescope will be finished hopefully next year. So we'll bring that out to events. So that's something cool. We're always trying to make astronomy more obtainable to everyone. Currently, right now, if you're in Texas and east, likelihood the conjunction has set in the western horizon. You can still get a really nice view tomorrow night as well. They're not going to be as close as they are right now, but they'll still be relatively close to get a really cool view through a telescope or take a picture of it. But generally, because we are about to lose it here in Arizona, if you're in that central time zone moving out to the east, it's probably already set from here. Now, the telescope that we're using, I'm getting questions about that right now. This is a Skywatcher Esprit 150. It's a 6-inch apochromatic refractor. It's kind of one of our pride and joys of our telescope arsenal that we use for outreach. These refractors are very, very forgiving. You can use them for all different kinds of things. You never really have to mess with them too much. They give a nice sharp image, except when the planets are really low and muggy, like what we're doing right now. But they do a very, very nice job, very flexible instrument. So that's what we're using right now, is a 6-inch Skywatcher Esprit 150, 150 millimeter refractor. The camera that we're using right now is a ZWO ASI 462 color camera. That's what we're using right now. We normally use monochrome or black and white cameras because of their sensitivity. But the planets have some cool detail and stuff like that, so we switched to the color camera tonight. So. The planets look quote-unquote smoky because they're low in the horizon. There's a lot of heat coming off the ground. They're getting ready to set behind a building, so there's a lot of heat that's coming off of that rooftop there, so it's causing the planets to boil, or quote-unquote boil. They just look unsteady, so... If you're looking to know when to go view the conjunction, it's happening right now. If you're Central Time Zone and East, they've already set. The planets only have about an hour and a half of visibility window before they set, from the time the sun goes down to when they go down. So best time to see them is normally about 5:30 in the evening till about 7. So they're going to be... very limited. So if you didn't get out tonight, if it's cloudy tonight, you can still get a really good view tomorrow night as well. They won't be as close as they are right now, but you can still get a really nice view of them tomorrow night as well. Get the cameras out if you're looking to take a cool picture of them. A nice telephoto lens, about 200 millimeter focal length, is really good. So. A good entry-level telescope would be the Skywatcher Classic 150 or Classic 200 millimeter Dobsonian telescopes. They're very forgiving, very easy, and you get a lot of bang for your buck for that size of a telescope. That's a good question. How long does it take the light right now to get from the planets to us? So, right now, Jupiter, the light takes 49.3 minutes to get from Jupiter to us right now. So, that what we're seeing right now is actually what Jupiter looked like just under an hour ago. And for Saturn, you're basically looking 90 minutes ago. So, the light that's coming from Saturn left there 90 minutes ago. So. Now, if you're looking to get started in astronomy, it's a really interesting hobby. Um, I know it's really easy to get some of the more cheap telescopes that you can get at, Walmart or Toys R Us or these toy telescopes. I find I've been doing this for a long time. I see 30,000 people a year doing our programs, and a lot of times people just get um, more frustrated and annoyed when you get these cheap telescopes. So what I normally tell people is, if you know astronomy is something you want to get into, put a little bit more money into it. If you can get something like $200 and $300, you can get a really nice telescope for not a lot of money. It's a telescope that you're going to enjoy and have a good experience with, because ultimately you want to have a good experience. You don't want to go out there and be frustrated and say screw it and be done with it. So, a nice telescope is like a Dobsonian telescope. Very simple telescope. You get a lot of aperture for resolving faint objects. So, like the Skywatcher Classic 150 or the Classic 200s are very nice telescopes for not a lot of money. You can also look at the Heritage 130 or the Heritage 150 telescopes from Skywatcher as well. Those work great without breaking the bank. If you want something that's got a little bit more pizzazz, like computers to drive itself around, the Celestron, Nexstar SE, and Evolution models are very, very nice as well, but they're going to cost you a little bit more, obviously, because you are actually paying for a lot more gizmos and gadgets on them, but they are great. So. The conjunction is currently happening. They're not going to they're not going to line up on top of each other, but this is as close as they're going to get right here. What would I say to a flat earther? Yeah, I've had to do that before. Um, so we could take the scientific fact away. You can't actually form a flat object in zero gravity. So in space, gravity is pulling on objects the same amount of force in every direction. Thus, the reason why everything in space that's rocky or gaseous is spherical. The sun is spherical, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all spherical. It's just how gravity works. You physically cannot get a flat disk like in a planet form in space. It just physically cannot happen. So, science. If you like what we're doing here, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We do virtual star parties every now and again, where we take you on a view of what's up in the nighttime sky, like galaxies, star clusters, nebulas, comets, if there's something cool up. So if you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, you can actually see what we're doing. And hopefully after the whole pandemic garbage is done and everyone's, healthy to go back outside, we'll hopefully see you at some of our actual events in the future. We are based in Arizona. So you can always go on to our website and see what we're doing and where we're going to be once everything's done. So. They won't actually eclipse each other. This is as close as they're going to get. They will not get any closer. In the future, they will eclipse each other, but none of us in this chat will be alive to see that. So. It is getting really low, so if you are in Colorado, you'd have to go outside, look to the west. You'll see a bright star. It might look like a plane. You can also use an app like on your iPhone or Android device. The one I like using is Star Walk. You can hold it up to the nighttime sky and it can help you find it. Now, if you guys are joining us, we're about to lose position, or we're about to lose the visibility of this right not too far from now here in Arizona. But if you want to continue on, our friends at Skies Away, they're in Central California. They've got a little bit more time at this point. You can go jump over there and check them out if you want to continue on with the stream. I will get the telescope over to the moon here in a little bit just because it's up, and so why not? So no, Mikey, they are not going to eclipse each other. This is as close as they're going to get. What people were referring to as it looks like one star is to the naked eye, not in the telescope. If you're not sure what telescope to get, and you're not really sure if this hobby is for you, I would say try to get like a little $200 telescope. A Dobsonian is always the best way to go because it's simple. You can test the waters that way, and then at that point you can see if this is really for you or not. So I would, anybody who's interested or watching right now, I would hesitate hooking up a camera to a telescope right off the bat because astrophotography is a much more complex portion of the astronomy hobby. It's very cool to be a part of it, but make sure it's something you want to get into before you jump both feet into it. So. The conjunction's happening right now. It's been happening all day. Here in Arizona, we are losing it. That's why the view or the image looks really muddy. It's getting really low here, but if you want to continue on with another stream, you can go over to our friends at Skies Away. I just put the link back in the chat. They're in Central California, so they've got a little bit more time than we do here. Star Walk 2 is a great app to go out and check out if you're not sure where to go. Samuel, I'm not impressed. Sorry, you can leave. 2040 will be another conjunction. I don't know how close they're going to be in the position. The other location is Skies Away in Central California. The link is now in the chat for you guys to check out. So. If you guys like what we're doing, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can keep up with what Focus is doing and any of our other virtual star parties that we will do in the future. We've done this before, and any special events we try to keep up and share that with everybody. I believe we've actually lost Saturn. So now we just have Jupiter on the screen. So while we're doing that, we're pretty much done with the conjunction. We've lost the conjunction at this point. All we have is Jupiter over here. We've lost it. If you want to continue on with the conjunction feeds, go over to Skies Away. They're one of our friends in Central California. So they are actually doing a feed right now. So you can go over and check them out if you want to continue on. Just because we're already here and it's nice and high, we're going to get the telescope moved over to the moon real quick. All right, so if you've joined us for the conjunction is over here in Arizona from our location. The planets have set. If you want to get a good view of it, you will have to go back out tomorrow. I would recommend going out about 6 o'clock from your location and just trying to get a good view of the planets tomorrow night. They will not be as close as they were this evening, but you'll still be able to get a really nice view of them tomorrow night. I would recommend about 6 p.m. and normally ends about 7 o'clock. So if you do want to get another view of it and continue on, you can go see our friends at Skies Away, putting the link up right there. So if you guys want to go check Skies Away, go check them out there in Central California and their stream. They've got a little bit more time from their location to check everything out and continue on. Now, just because we're already set up, this is the moon. This is generally how it looks through one of our telescopes here. And the planets can actually have a real nice look when they're nice and high. The moon is in an optimal location right now, so that's the reason it's really easy to see and get a nice view of that there. Now, the moon is 240,000 miles away from the Earth. We'll do a little drive around here. You cannot see the U.S. flag with any ground-based telescope. We just don't have the resolution for it, so... Now, that link we just posted, if you guys want to continue on, you can go over to Skies Away's link tomorrow and catch it, because we've lost it here. We're just on the moon right now for fun. The telescope was already set up, so why not? So we'll hang out here just for a little bit more, then we'll end our feed for the evening. If you've come here for the conjunction, it's already set here in Arizona, and probably for most of the United States. So you can still get a nice view of the conjunction tomorrow. It will not be as close as it was tonight, but you can still get a good view of Jupiter and Saturn tomorrow night around 6 p.m. your local time. Just go out, look towards the west. You'll see a bright star. Those are the two planets together. So definitely something to check out. So we are showing the moon right now because the conjunction is already over. So we're just hanging out on the moon, just showing some stuff while we've already got the telescope set up, so why not? To use Star Walk 2, you might have to orient your phone by rotating it kind of in a figure 8 position, moving it back and forth in a figure 8 motion so it kind of orients itself, and then holding it up to the nighttime sky, and it should orient itself from there. The planets have already set for the evening here in Arizona. If you want to continue on with another live stream, our friends at Skies Away, link coming up right here in the chat, still have it. At the moment, most of the United States, for the planets have already set for the evening. It's a very small, about hour-and-a-half window to catch it. So you have to start about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it can only go to about 7 at that point. So you definitely want to make sure you have enough time to check out the planets. So if you missed it tonight, you can still get a nice view of them tomorrow. All right. You guys want Mars? See if we can get Mars real quick here. Okay. All right, welcome to Mars. Let me adjust the camera here real quick. See how Mars. It's been a while since I've looked at Mars. Mars is kind of a really difficult planet to see right now. It's actually moving away from us at the moment. Closest position was earlier this year in the fall. Now, if you look closely, Mars is pretty hard to see the detail on there, but you can see some of the darkening details on there. This is the planet Mars. Skies Away is on Facebook. They are doing their live feed there. Here's the link. Now, if you guys want, because we are set up right now, I can switch cameras out. And if we switch the cameras out, we can do some deep sky objects as well, just to kind of give you a tour of what actually we can do with the telescopes as well. While we are on Mars real quick, I know some people are asking how far it is away from us at the moment. Let me double check on that. Mars is currently 74,400,000 miles from Earth right now. So this is the planet Mars. If you're just joining us, here in Arizona, where the telescope is currently based, the conjunction is over. It has set from our location. If you want to continue on, our friends Skies Away, I think on Facebook, still have it. They're in Central California, so they've got a little bit more time. At the moment, from our location, the conjunction has ended. You can still get a nice view of that tomorrow. Now, what we're looking at right now, little orange ball in the middle, that is the planet Mars, currently at 74,400,000 miles away from the Earth. If you look close, you can kind of see some gray detail on the planet. Mars had its close approach in the fall. It's moving away from us right now, so it's still looking rather far away. If you guys are cool for a little bit, we're actually going to turn this camera off, and we're going to switch out to another camera, and we're going to see if I can show you some of the nebulas and other things that are up in the nighttime sky, so you can actually get a feel of what we actually do here at Focus during our live stream. So bear with me real quick. We're going to switch this camera off, and we're going to go to another setup real quick. Alright, so just an FYI, this is a back screen of the monitor, so that is not what's on the telescope right now, just as a heads up. But we did switch cameras, and we're going to hook up the new camera here. And just want to give you guys kind of a view of what we're doing right now. So yeah, if you're here for the conjunction's already over. It's set from our location. It was only till about 7 o'clock here in Arizona. So now we're just kind of messing around with the telescope. Just showing you guys what's up in the nighttime sky. We just switched the camera out. We're going to do this for probably 10-15 minutes just to show you guys what is up. So bear with me as we switch out targets. I just received word that I believe Skies Away is probably done for the evening as well, so hopefully if you had the ability to get over there, hopefully you had a chance to catch that. So at the moment we are just getting the camera switched out. All right, so we're just going to do this for a couple minutes. If you're just joining us, the conjunction is over. It ended about 15 and 20 minutes ago from our location. I think all the other streaming locations that I'm aware of have already ended as well. So what we're going to do is just kind of play around with some objects that are currently up in the nighttime sky. Currently, we're up on the Pleiades, or M45. This is an open cluster in the constellation of Taurus the Bull. Great binocular object. It's an open cluster of about 400 to 500 stars, and currently sits about 400 light years from the Earth, 400 to 500 light years already. So if you are just joining us, the conjunction is over. We're just kind of messing around right now, showing you what we can do with the telescopes and what we generally do during our virtual star parties. So if you like the virtual star parties, if you like this event, you can subscribe to the channel and keep up when we're going to be doing them again. So this is the Pleiades star cluster, M45, in the constellation of Taurus the Bull. It's about 400 to 500 light years away. So the light we're seeing right now is about 500 years old. So we're actually looking into the past right now. So pretty neat. Yes, the conjunction has already happened. It's already over. You can catch it tomorrow night with your eyes from your house at about 6 o'clock p.m. in the west. So what we're looking at on the screen right now, this is M45. This is the Pleiades star cluster in the constellation of Taurus the Bull. Open cluster, light you're seeing about 500 years old, coming from that cluster. Here, let's actually stop this one. I'll show you guys one that you probably enjoy a little bit more. So right now we're going to go to the closest spiral galaxy to our own. This is the Andromeda Galaxy, M31, about 2.5 million light years away. The little churning that you hear in the back, that is the telescope slewing as it goes over to capture our next image. If you're here for the conjunction is already over for this evening here in Arizona. It's already set. So right now we're just kind of messing around with the telescope, showing you what's up in the nighttime sky. Largest star in Taurus is Aldebaran, the Eye of the Bull. So what we do in astrophotography is we take a long exposure. That means the shutter is open for an extended period of time while the telescope tracks an object. And it collects light during that time. So when you take a photograph with a camera or your phone, you just hear it go click. That's a very short exposure. Generally in astrophotography, we're taking very long exposures and pulling out detail that we can try to see. Some of our exposures are several hours long as we try to see more objects. Now I'm going to go turn these lights off real quick and see if we can get a little bit better view. So a big problem when you're shooting pictures in the middle of town is you have a lot of light pollution. We also have the moon up. So light pollution is extra ambient light that's being emitted into the atmosphere by just random street lights and stuff like that. It's preventing us from seeing different faint objects. So it makes doing astronomy from in town quite difficult. But what we're on right now is the Andromeda Galaxy. This is the closest spiral galaxy to the Milky Way, about 2.5 million light years away. You can see the central core there in the center. This is a very good object to see in a dark sky with binoculars. Hopefully humans will be on Mars in a lot less than 50 years. So normally our virtual star parties, what you guys are seeing here, we have a lot more objects picked out. This is just kind of something we're doing on a whim to kind of end out the conjunction event. For those of you who are just getting here, the conjunction ended about a half hour ago from here in Arizona. We're no longer able to get it So it has set. So thank you very much for joining us on that. Right now we're on the Andromeda Galaxy. This is the closest spiral galaxy to the Milky Way at 2.5 million light years away from the Earth. The little haze you see in the middle is the core of the Milky Way. I'm sorry, the core of the Andromeda Galaxy. And you can start to see some dust lanes in the shot there as well. But we do virtual star parties like this a lot. We're normally a little bit more equipped for doing events like this. Tonight we're more set up for planets. So if you join us on a virtual star party night, we pull out all the stops, all the best equipment we have to do that. Not that the telescope we're using tonight is bad. That's actually one of our best telescopes. It's just the camera we're using right now isn't ideal for what we're doing at the moment. So if you like what you see, want to join us at a future event, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That'll keep you updated with what we're doing. So we're going to do maybe one or two more objects, and then we're going to wrap things up for the evening. I want to see how much of this we can actually get. In order for that, I need to go grab a filter, so I'll be right back. So if you're just hanging out with us right now, I've just switched the filter out on the telescope. Just want to kind of show you guys a little bit more before we shut down. I'll give it about another 10 minutes. But we're just showing you some of the objects that are up in the nighttime sky. This is generally what we do during our virtual star parties. If you like it, you can join us again at that, and you can subscribe to the channel here, and we can show you more objects that are up in the nighttime sky. So right now, we're just kind of cruising around the nighttime sky. Normally, we are a little bit more prepared equipment-wise and target-wise, got things more planned out on objects. So we're just kind of showing you guys around just some of the objects that are up in the evening at the moment. All right, this is one of my favorite objects in the nighttime sky. This is called the Bubble Nebula. I think some of you will actually like this as we sit on the target a little bit more. Generally, how astrophotography works is we take long exposures of distant objects and we stack those images on top of each other. This allows us to see fainter things in the nighttime sky because these objects are relatively faint. So when you normally take a picture of something with like a camera or a phone, it's normally just a little, real quick shot. In astrophotography, you have to take long, extended exposures of an object to actually get it to pull out of the nighttime sky. So what we're looking at here is a nebula. This is in the constellation of Cassiopeia. It sits about 1,400 light years away from the Earth. 1 light year is about 6 trillion miles. So if you want to know how far this is in miles, you take 6 trillion times it by 1,400, and there's your distance. The telescope we're using right now is a Skywatcher Esprit 150. It's a 6-inch apochromatic refractor made by Skywatcher. We're currently on the Bubble Nebula right now. You can see the bubbles actually starting to show up right here. All this is glowing hydrogen around that nebula. We try to do virtual star parties fairly often, maybe once a month. We're probably going to be updating our schedule on our website, www.focusastro.org. It's called Starstream is the name of our virtual events. You can always join us there. You can always also watch us on social media. Facebook and Instagram is what we're on. Just look for Focus Astronomy, and that gives you all the information about what virtual events are coming up. Normally our virtual star parties are a little bit more prepared. We have some more objects in tow, where tonight we're mainly focusing on we're focusing on the conjunction, and that's now over as it's set. So right now we're just kind of showing you guys around the nighttime sky just what's up in the evening beyond the conjunction. So we're on the Bubble Nebula right now. The Bubble Nebula is right here. You can see the little bubble here and the glowing hydrogen around it. Let me see if I can pull some more detail out of here. Little bit of a stretch, but you can start to see the bubble right here. This is a nebula in the constellation of Cassiopeia. It's 1,400 light years away from the Earth. So the light that we're seeing right now left there 1,400 years ago. It's just now getting to the Earth. And this is taken from a light polluted location in Phoenix, Arizona is where we are based at. So you can do some really interesting things regardless of being in a light polluted sky. But we are currently sitting on the Bubble Nebula, which you can see there in the shot. Right there, that is the bubble. And then you have all kinds of extended hydrogen gas sitting out away from the nebula. Now, the term nebula is Latin for cloud, thus the name for these, because it does look like a cloud floating out in space. Now, if you have enjoyed our webcast tonight, I appreciate everyone who's been here tonight. My name is Kevin Legore. I am the director of Focus Astronomy. You might also know me from Skywatcher as the product specialist there. I appreciate everyone actually taking the time out this evening to join us. I hope you've enjoyed the webcast. If you do like what we're doing here, go over to and subscribe to the channel. You can also visit us at www.focusastro.org, which I will put down here in the chat. You can see what we're doing. We are going to update some of our webcast schedules hopefully here in the future. We've got a lot of cool objects that are up in the nighttime sky at the moment, so we'll try to do some virtual star parties here as well, so people can check that out. Big thanks to Skywatcher for supporting this evening and getting the word out with their email blast as well. So for everybody who's still hanging in there, thank you very much. We're just doing a couple little objects at the moment, just so you can kind of see what other things that we can do besides the conjunctions. But this is currently we're sitting on the Bubble Nebula. It's in the constellation of Cassiopeia. You can see the bubble in there. 1,400 light years away from the Earth. So the light we're seeing actually left 1,400 years ago. All right. So we're going to do one last object, and I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. We're going to stop the exposures on the Bubble Nebula. Do keep an eye on our webcast, as we are going to have another virtual star party probably here in the future for all the wintertime objects. The Orion Nebula is coming up right now. So it's very cool to be a part of it this time of year. So probably in a couple weeks, once Orion kind of moves a little bit more, we'll do another webcast. So do keep an eye out here on the channel. You can go to www.focusastro.org, as I linked up there below, above there in the chat, where you can actually see our schedule. We'll get that updated here shortly once we're through the holidays. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel here and join us for future events. So let's wrap this up. We're going to do one more cool cluster here. This is called M15 in Pegasus. Alright, so this is our final target for tonight. If you've enjoyed the webcast, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Focus Astronomy. It really does help us out. It'll keep you informed on any future events that we're going to be doing. We do have some more virtual star parties in the works. At this point, we've got good weather here, so we want to bring you along for that in the future. So, with that being said, this is the final target. This is called M15. M15 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Pegasus. There we go. Now, globular clusters are dense balls of stars floating out in space. It looks kind of like a cotton ball. M15 in particular is one of the easier ones to see in the nighttime sky. This is about 34,000 light years away from the Earth. And a globular cluster is basically a dense ball of stars. And there's about there's several hundred out there in the nighttime sky, and they actually make a halo around the core of the Milky Way. This is a great target to see from light-polluted backyards. We need about a 6 to 8 inch telescope, maybe a little bit smaller. Like a 4-inch telescope, you can actually glimpse this. But if you're getting a telescope for Christmas or the holidays, this is a great target to go out and see. Generally, these are visible in the summertime when we're looking more towards the core of the Milky Way. Now, edge to edge, the cluster looks pretty small. The chip on this camera is a little bit bigger than the previous camera we were using for the conjunction, but the diameter of this cluster is 175 light years. So going the speed of light, which is 6 trillion miles a year, 186,000 miles per second, it would take you 175 years to cross the cluster. Now, to get there, it's about 34,000 light years away from the Earth. So quite a bit further than the Bubble Nebula that we saw. So going at the speed of light, it would take you about 34,000 years to reach the cluster. Way the heck out there. So very cool object. Now, globular clusters are really dense balls of stars. They're generally fairly old as well, and they contain about a couple 100,000 stars. M15 is a great object to check out in small telescopes, so if you are getting something for the holidays, definitely check that out. It's a great target to look at. What is the fastest spaceship? Well, nothing we do right now is light speed. It'd be nice, but even if you had a spaceship that could go light speed, it would take you about 34,000 years to get to this cluster. Little bit of a drive. So we're about to wrap it up for the evening. We went a little bit longer than planned. I hope you guys have had a really good time this evening. The conjunction was really exciting. I really appreciate everyone being here as part of the chat. This has been our best episode yet of our live streams. But thank you very much for spending your evening with us tonight. If you want to join us again, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for Focus Astronomy and keep up with what we're doing. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us on Focus Astronomy is what you want to look us up. You can also visit www.focusastro.org. We're going to be updating our live stream events there as well. And hopefully when the world returns to normal, we'll be able to see you guys in person. But for all of you who are still hanging in there, thank you very much. That is it for the webcast tonight. I hope you have a great weekend. Do get out and view the nighttime sky this weekend if you can. I hope you have a happy and safe holiday. Please stay safe and healthy. And again, my name is Kevin Legore of Focus Astronomy. Very appreciative of all you being here. Thank you for having a great turnout this evening. And we hope to see you guys in another virtual event or hopefully a real event here in the future. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend and stay safe.